And while in waiting, if you are not making the anchor in your life, what did we say earlier? Like, if I'm not making the Lord an anchor in my life, when we separate from one another, as far as when my spouse goes to work, when he goes to hang out with friends, when he goes to visit family, everything in this world we already know naturally pulls us apart from one another.
Yeah.
What are you meditating on? What is holding you
Because you
in this marriage?
because you said to me earlier you would hate for me to have to I guess you to tell me one day like, hey, I ain't happy in this marriage. I'm about to fall
Yeah,
out.
I mean,
like,
and
what?
be completely
Yeah,
blindsided
blindsided. Yeah.
if I come back from work, like I work 7 days a week, and one day I just come back from work and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this marriage. And it's like, what? What happened? I thought we was good. Well, the Lord's not my anchor. I hadn't been faithful even to the Lord. Of course, I won't feel like I can be faithful to you. Even if I lacked faith at some point, because we all struggle or waver sometimes. And that's why you have the scriptures that encourages you to do well, don't grow weary and well doing. We have scriptures in James. Remember when I was saying I was just feeling kind of a certain way? You referred me back to James. That was the Lord's strength within you that was able to redirect me back to the Lord. And I think if you didn't have that faith and I was sitting here like kind of low in an area or in a season, if you didn't have that, you wouldn't be able to redirect me as my spouse.
And also too, like I think really, to the audience, really goes back to like when you're desiring a wife or a husband, are you actually doing the work to prepare yourself to receive him or her? And I feel like oftentimes, like, because I've just heard different people talk about wanting to be married and wanting a wife or a husband, but then they say things like, "Well, I don't trust nobody," and I'm like, scratching my head, like, you don't trust nobody, like, so why do you want to get married then if you don't trust nobody? And while it's good that you can identify why you don't trust anybody, I think the real work is required. Well, why don't I trust anybody?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you have to and should investigate with a counselor or a therapist or a pastor, somebody in your life who you look up to. You know what I'm saying? I think that oftentimes in the Black culture, it's taboo to go see a therapist. But it's like, if you're somebody that's saying that you desire marriage and you also can say, I don't trust nobody, I don't think marriage is something you should be thinking about at that particular time. Put that marriage on the back burner and you focus on or investigate why you don't trust, kind of with the help a therapist or a counselor, somebody walking with you, figure out why don't you trust somebody, you know what I'm saying, or why don't you trust people. And that's kind of the work of the preparation that most people don't do. Some people do it, but a lot of people, they don't do it until they come into a marriage or a relationship with issues or baggage. And I will say, when we got married, a lot of the men of God told me, yes, there will be some things, that you enter into a marriage with, that your spouse is going to unfortunately be affected by whatever has happened to you. That's husband and wife. That's just human nature. But it's some things that, if possible, you should work on as much as you can. And I think the very foundation of any relationship, especially a marriage, is built on trust. So if you can say, I don't trust anybody, then why would you want to get married at that particular point in your life? Why? What's the point?
Well,
Are you looking for financial help? You looking for help with the kids? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Questions that I would ask myself.
Well, I want to say this because I was one of those ones in my early 20s. I think that I said that. I remember I said it to whoever was in the room with me. At the time, my mentor, who had been married, she got married really young. She came from that generation. They had children young. They got married young. So, and I remember she walked into the salon, sat in my chair, and she said to me, hey, what's going on with you? And I was like, I want to be married, but I don't feel like I trust anybody. And I remember like this other girl in the chair across was like, well, then why would you want to get married? Like saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I couldn't explain it. But then she jumped in and said, well, your desire to be married doesn't go away. Like your desire doesn't go away. But, because there's so many things to not trust. And, no one has shown you either how to trust or shown you that they can be trustworthy, is why you have that like insecurity. And she's a therapist. She was a therapist. She's since passed. But, I remember that conversation and I was like, oh, okay. So she validated, she said what you said as well. Like, yeah, I don't think you should get married. But then again, it's like, who you in a relationship with? Like, it was almost like, you talking to somebody? Are you talking to? And it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I get it. When you start to have those insecurities, even with the person that you're engaging with and trying to consider, is this the one? Is this the Lord's best for me? I think that being prayerful about, Lord, make it clear. Please make
Yeah.
it clear to me. And also, like you said, work on yourself and Lord, help me through this. Because, like I said, I think I still probably dealt with a little bit of that distrust. And I feel like, kind of back to what I said before, I feel like on day one of meeting you, I felt like I heard the Lord say it clearly to me. And that might have been the Lord making it clear for me so that I
To prepare
can
your heart.
to prepare my heart.
Yeah.
Not that I needed to do anything as far as like making sure you seen me and making sure you knew I'm
I
wife
saw you.
material. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to do anything extra to prove to you that I'm your wife and the Lord, orchestrated this. And no, but I think that the Lord said that knowing that I probably just needed to hear that. So then I could be open to receiving
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And on our next episode, we're gonna really dive into God will send you a husband or wife, but it won't be in the package or the form that you may think that you want or what you like or your preference. I think that that's kind of what we'll focus on the next episode, because I feel like oftentimes I hear people say, well, he got to be this or she got to be that. And I'm like, so if God send you somebody that's not what you just said, you totally miss them.